All right, welcome back to Allegheny Health Network Nightly Sports Call. I'm Rich Walsh. I'm joined by Ron Cook for tonight's show, and we're talking about the Steelers, the Pitt Panthers, and their chances coming up this weekend. As for the Panthers' chances, I haven't even looked at the spread, Ron, but I don't know if I would pick them to win this game with whatever quarterback that they do trot out there. I just think it's...
Well, I mean, they've been so bad defensively, although I thought they did a really nice job at Penn State, and then to come home and not even be competitive against Oklahoma State. And I know that's a tremendous offense, but, you know, 7 possessions, 7 touchdowns right out of the box, not very good. It's hard to like them this week on the road against another different kind of offense, certainly. They're going to try to run it down your throat. Pitt was able to beat them at home last year. I don't like their chances this year, but I didn't like their chances at Clemson last year either. What do I know?
Yeah, you know, you hear the coaches talk about, you know, they make the adjustments, but, you know, they're adjusting from 3 totally different offenses now to a 4th. I mean, that's gotta be tough for a defense or any team when you get an explosive offense like Oklahoma State and then this unorthodox offense like Georgia Tech.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, they play that triple option. You know, you misread, you know, not in one gap where you're supposed to be. The guy's going to go for 60 yards and a touchdown. So, you know, you always got to be on your P's and Q's. We'll see if Pitt is. It's a young defense. You know, we didn't hear much about being young in the preseason. Now they're young. So, I mean, when they've lost a couple games, they do have some young kids in there. Getting Whitehead back certainly should help. I mean, I think he really let the team down. Getting him back, maybe he can help make up for those first 3 games by playing well this week. We'll see.
All right, let's get out to the phone lines. We got Al in the West End. How you doing, Al?
Hey, Richie, how you doing?
Good, thanks for calling.
Hey, you know how everybody's getting all bent out of shape about this James Franklin, this timeout thing? You know, when you call timeout to block the kick?
Yep.
Yeah.
If you don't think it matters, let's look at Ohio State and Washington struggle against Indiana and Rutgers in the first half. They blew them out. They didn't drop. USC struggled against Western Michigan and Texas. They dropped. Penn State struggled against Pitt, you know, the game was never a contest. They dropped. It matters. You don't believe that? Look at TCU a couple years ago in the playoffs when they were ranked 3rd. They kind of struggled against Iowa State, but blew them out. They didn't get in. People don't think that these scores don't matter. Look at Penn State last year.
So you're suggesting that 56-3 isn't good enough, 56-0 is better?
Look at all the evidence I just stated.
You stated nothing that proved that to me. You know, I understand if you beat a bad team 21-10 or something like that. 56-0 or 56-3 against a team they shouldn't be playing in the first place. I don't know how I don't know how that would hurt them or help them either way. I would have it hurt them if it was me, because I don't like playing teams like Georgia State when you can play somebody better. I would hold that against Penn State instead of holding it in their favor, whether they win 56-0 or 56-3.
Al, I appreciate the call. Yeah, you know, I have a problem with that maybe, but maybe that it's a coaching, a teaching element. I don't know, but you're right. They shouldn't even be playing Georgia State.
Right.
You know, I'm all for you playing good teams.
Hey, I didn't like him calling timeout either, but I wasn't nearly as offended by that as the crap the week before about, you know, Pitt beating Pitt's like beating Akron. That was much more offensive to me. I don't care if he calls timeout. It's a game that they shouldn't have been playing. But to their credit, they get 102,000 people up there for it, so I guess why not?
Yeah, you know, the one thing about college football, every point does matter, but not so much like that. You know, that's why you see some of these teams run up the score, because at the end of the year, the computer figures it in, and you don't want to miss out like Penn State did, be on the outside looking in, one spot out of a college playoff championship. Well,
they wouldn't have been looking outside if they had beaten Pitt last year. Maybe if they hadn't, where a score mattered, they got beat by 39 at Michigan last year. Exactly. I think that's a loss that hurt them even more than Pitt's. They weren't even competitive in that game. So, you know, scores do matter, but I don't know that a score of that magnitude against Georgia State matters.
All right, Diana Shank from Pittsburgh tweeted me. He said, Pitt in attendance, I just don't think locals consider them a serious football program, second class among serious college programs. Now, Diana, I kind of disagree with you here because I don't think they're a second class program. It's just there's a lot. They compete with a lot in a pro football, pro hockey, pro baseball town.
Right.
That's one of the reasons they don't get the attendance at some of these other schools. When you look at schools that are comparable to Pitt, that are in a Power 5 conference with 3 professional teams in a major city, Pitt's right in there in attendance in the top 5.
Well, I mean, there's proof tonight. I happen to be flicking through the TV. Why I would even flick in to see the game from it. South Florida's at home against Temple.
Yeah.
South Florida's 21 in the country. They're 3-0 going in this. They're blowing out Temple. They're in Tampa, right?
Yep.
There was nobody at that game.
3 teams.
Nobody, and they're 21st, and it's hard. It's very, very hard. And we had this argument, Paul Zeiss and I, on the Showdown the other night. He said, "Why do you schedule Oklahoma State's?" To me, Pitt has to, if it is even going to try to get some people on, schedule good teams, and not only schedule them, beat them. Not schedule them and then get beat by 59-21 scores. There was nobody at that South Florida game, though. This isn't just a Pitt problem. We focus on it because it's our team in our town. But it's tough when you're in a pro market. This isn't Narduzzi came from East Lansing. This isn't East Lansing.
No.
Zeiss used Kansas State as an example the other day. Play patsies, build up your program. Well, this isn't Kansas State. You have to put on an entertaining product, and man, it's a challenge over there, and it's been a challenge for a long time.
I'm in the middle. I'm kind of with both of you guys. I don't think that they should be playing Oklahoma State because I think they should play big-time programs more regionally, but I do agree with you that they need to play better programs. Maybe not Oklahoma State, but how about Ohio State? Get a program.
Yeah, but I don't know if Ohio State would
want to play.
Right. I mean, you need 2 to tango. I mean, I wish they'd play West Virginia every year, Penn State every year, Notre Dame every year. But, they all have their own scheduling interests, and you have to have 2 to tango. Absolutely. I'm not saying Oklahoma State. I'd much rather see Pitt play West Virginia, but it's got, we're going to see it down the road, but it's a ways away.
Oklahoma State is one of the best teams in the country. They
Most exciting, too.
Yes, they might be in the college football playoff at the end of the year. They get 38,000 to see this team. That's kind of ridiculous, and I think it's because a lot of people don't know Oklahoma State because they don't watch them. They might be better served playing Army, Navy.
I mean, this Pitt attendance story, Rich, is an old one, and I don't know when it's going to change, but the ultimate proof to me is they go to Clemson last year, beat Clemson, unbelievable win. They come home and play Duke, and it was like 38,000 there. I mean, to me, if I'm Narduzzi and I'm looking around saying, what have I got myself into? That to me was an embarrassment.
Yeah, there's not much to pick and do. Like I said, if you have a whole weekend to do something and you have tickets to both Pitt and the Steelers, people are going to spend Saturdays with their family. I can't blame that. Right. Blame them, if they have something else going on, and you watch it on TV, and then you go to the Steelers game. You don't want to spend 2 consecutive days at Heinz Field. At least, I have to because of my job, but, I'd rather spend time with my daughters or do something sometimes. So I get why Pitt's attendance is what it is sometimes. All right, we're going to take a break. Back with more of your phone calls and some of your tweets coming up next. Stay right there.